Hey everybody, welcome back to We Are Podcast Network. This is We Are Air Season 1, Episode 3, Best Joker Performance. If this is your first time checking out the podcast, thank you so much. Please go to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, or iTunes, and give We Are Podcast a like. And if you get a chance, head over to our social media. All links can be found in the description. We're at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at /We Are Podcast. With that said, on to the podcast.
We Are Error.
Hey everybody, welcome to the We Are Error podcast. This is Duck and I am here with
Javi.
And this is
Jake. Salutations.
And we are here to talk about movie news, entertainment, whatever the fuck we want to talk about, because that's what we do.
I want to talk about Libya.
He wants to talk about labia. Okay. What about the labia majora and the labia minora do you like?
Well, I'm a fan. I do things to both of them.
That's the clitoris thing you're doing right there. That's nothing to do with the lips.
Well, I also do that to lips.
My friend, listen to Jake, okay? He knows what he's talking about.
The little scissors.
Give him the old...
Yeah. Let's get in there.
Give him the clamps. Give him the clamps!
Right.
Yeah.
Clamp this, clamp that, bada clamp.
Do you ignore the
Like
labia?
you're looking for a soul. Spread it wide open.
Alright, y'all. I want to start with movie news, because that's what I always talk about.
Yeah!
But I have the most important news of the week, actually, here.
Fucking movie news!
Hold on, I need a little bit of light!
Fucking movie news! Fuck yeah! Give us the light! Give us the light! Tonight! Now give me the light!
Alright, so we're actually not going to start with movie news. We're going to start with the most important news of the week.
We fooled you! The movie news!
Alright, the reason we're starting with this story is because it is a Texas story, okay?
Oh boy.
Have you all heard about the boxes of donated bananas contained $17 million worth of what?
Cocaine.
Cocaine, that's right. Happened in
Bananas
Texas.
and blow!
So evidently, somebody was either donating these boxes, didn't know it was there, or they were trying to smuggle the cocaine
It's most
into
likely the latter.
the Texas Department of Criminal Justice.
If I know anything, there's an escaped orangutan just somewhere behind this. You know, movies have taught me so much in life.
There's the picture of it. It's two giant
bananas
boxes
and blow.
of delicious cocaine.
Sweet.
This guy has a
Javi.
banana box.
C.
Javi, have you ever done the cocaine?
I've never done
It's
coke.
on a recording. Are you lying?
No, I've never done coke. I've touched a vial of coke when I was a kid, and I ran 10 blocks thinking I was going to die of a heart attack just because I touched cocaine.
Holy shit, you almost did.
I know, because I almost gave
Because
myself
you
a heart
touched the
attack.
vial?
Yeah, because I remember reading...
I've done a
This
shit
is
ton
like
of
New
cocaine.
York.
and I've
You know,
never
they
experienced
it doesn't come
Ah.
in vials down here.
Yeah.
That's a fucking very north.
Turtles. There was a
northern
vial of
fucking thing.
ooze that got there,
Yeah.
and then the
It was
vial
like a little glass jar. And I remember learning in health class that
was
cocaine
crack.
speeds up your
Spawn
heart.
had the vial later.
And I was just like, I touched this. This is my uncle's. I'm going to fucking die of a heart attack right now. So I ran 10
I like
blocks.
how you outed your uncle on the podcast.
Full sprint 10 blocks.
How old were you?
I was about 11.
Holy
He turned into the
shit.
Flash, man.
And I ran all the way. I was like, Mom, I want to have a heart attack. I just touched cocaine. And she's like, fuck are you
Where is
doing?
it? Now go play.
So you've never done cocaine?
Never done cocaine. The
Jake,
hardest
have
thing
you
I've
ever done
was-
cocaine?
I've done cocaine once.
I'm pretty sure it's still
For
in the
7
system.
years.
And about... But anyhow, there's the box of cocaine. Did you see the picture?
I'm getting high just from looking at it.
It's
Jesus.
wonderful.
And they're doles. They're none of those fake ass fucking
It's
Chiquita
Dole-
banana bullshit.
It's Dole brand cocaine. Is what it
Yeah.
is. And that's the thing, is nothing in the article does it say anything about Dole, but you know it was
Well,
Dole.
Bob Dole is a cover-up
Bob
artist.
Dole.
You know,
Okay.
so-
No.
Bob Dole coming back from the
Bob
grave.
Dole of the banana
How big was
fortune.
Ronald McDonald's Bob Dole, though?
Wonderful. Man. So anyhow, there's a lot of upset prisoners right now. And it's somebody probably losing their head, let's be honest. Because
Oh, there's going to be quite a
yeah,
few
I was gonna
people
say a
losing
few
their head.
heads rolling at least. Haven't you seen Scarface? I told you, you little monkey, don't you ever try to fuck me. And he's, oh shit, the monkey did it. Don't you ever try. Hey, fuck you, you don't talk to me like that.
So going from cocaine to something that makes you want to do a lot of cocaine, Marvel Studios. Wait, that's a bad transition.
Woo!
Marvel Studios
Something
has,
you watch, you feel like you're on a bunch of
Oh,
cocaine.
yeah.
How about that?
Marvel Studios has their next Phase 4 film. Does anyone know what it is?
It is going to be Captain Marvel.
Well, that is true. That'll begin it off. But their next superheroes are going to introduce Guardians of the Galaxy style, because no one knows jack shit about them. The Eternals. Do y'all know anything about the Eternals?
God,
Are they like the Celestials?
The Celestials that they've kind of brought up in Guardians
Why
of the
do we
Galaxy.
want to watch gods?
Because that's where they're heading towards. They're heading
I
towards
see that. It's all fucking cosmic and fucking...
Because they want to set that up for whenever they do the Avengers afterwards in Phase 4. They're setting up these Celestials and all that intergalactic shit, basically, so that they can use those as the big enemies. And probably what you're going to get from that is you're going to get... Exactly.
Is Galactus one
You're
of them?
going to get Silver Surfer and Galactus.
I forgot that Disney recently got the rights to
Exactly,
FF
because
and
whenever the merger goes through with Fox in January, hopefully of next year, they will be able to take Fantastic Four and the X-Men and Deadpool and actually integrate them into the Marvel universe. The question is, how are they going to do it?
I think they already did it because there's pictures of fucking Jack Human.
They know Jack Human.
He is a Jack Human. On the set of Avengers 4.
Is
and
that
he's
true?
rocking
Yeah.
the same fucking Wolverine hair.
He's rocking
those came out-
Wolverine, dude.
Like, he looks exactly like Logan, but young Logan.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, these pictures leaked a
See,
couple
and I
months
would
ago.
like that if
They leaked like a few months
if
after
they
it came
don't
out.
get rid of the Fox continue. I can't talk. They don't get rid of what Fox did with the X-Men universe. I'm fine with that because it works and it's already destroyed within their universe. They can just reset it. They reset it with the younger versions of Magneto and Professor X. And Deadpool is almost a completely separate entity. All you have to do is bring in the Fantastic Four in a kick-ass way. My version of it is do 1970s Fantastic Four, have them go to outer space, have all that shit the same as the original, and then have them, like Captain America, skip a period of time, and you can even have Ant-Man, the original, involved with that group.
I don't know. I think they should just leave Deadpool alone.
Hank
They're
Pym,
not going to touch Deadpool, trust me.
Hank Pym, the original
Exactly.
Ant-Man.
You could use Hank Pym, the
he would
original
work with
Ant-Man.
Reed Richards. They did have a close
Exactly. So that
Yeah.
would work perfectly for them.
Do you think that a Disney-backed Deadpool is not going to be an R rating?
No, I don't think they will. I think they'll bring it over and soften it up.
I mean, they got
Damn.
him on the Disney XD cartoons, like Spider-Man and shit like that.
They've already talked about it.
dumbed them down. But
Yeah.
nobody's going to want to really see it. Like, all the hardcore fans are going to be pissed.
Well, you got to remember everything they've been saying about Deadpool recently has been we're going to soften him up for the X-Force. We're not doing another Deadpool movie. We're just going to bring him into the X-Force and have him be the Wolverine of this new X-Men universe.
Fucking stupid.
Well, we've got 2 X-Men movies that haven't come out. Both of their release dates have been pushed. You're looking at the New Mutants.
the New Mutants
and
movie.
you're
That
looking-
looked awesome, though.
And the X-Men, whatever, Phoenix or whatever they're doing.
Dark Phoenix.
Both of those movies have been moved back. And there has been some speculation that maybe they'll just drop them on the Disney app whenever it comes out and get rid of that shit if they take over Fox, which they pretty much are going to.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where that's most likely what's going to happen with this situation.
Hey, if Fox takes a cue from Sony and they let them handle the properties like they did with Spider-Man, then it's going to be perfect.
I mean, they're still going to make money, and then it's going to be integrated in-house. It might as well at this point.
Really, Dark Phoenix thought I was like, come on, bro.
Hey, but here's the other thing. You guys have heard of the Mark Millar, or is it Miller? Is it Mark Miller or Millar?
It's Millar, I think.
Is it Miller? Anyhow, Netflix had picked up Middle-World, which was a bunch of his properties that weren't already done, and some that have already been done, and they're going to do a bunch of Netflix stuff. But also, we're going to get Kingsman 3. Now, I don't know how y'all feel about Kingsman. I know me and Jake definitely like the first one.
Yeah.
I have not seen the second one.
The second one was so fucking good.
Did you like it? Because a lot
Yes.
of people did not like it.
It was good. It wasn't as good as
It
the
wasn't
first
even
one.
the first one. Well, they had one scene that, to this day, when I talk about it, it just gives me goosebumps. And that's with Mark Strong scene.
Spoilers! How do you
It's
guys
like,
feel
oh,
about a
man.
sequel, though? Do you think it needs another sequel?
I think it could be fun.
Yeah, if handled properly, but I think they pretty much said everything that they've had to say.
Do you
with
think
it.
they
Same
went-
with, like, Kick-Ass.
Do you think they repeated the first movie too much in the second movie? That was a big complaint I've heard over and
I
over.
mean, a little bit. I think they should have just let Colin Firth's character
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, the way they brought him back wasn't great. It was just kind of like,
Oh,
oh,
what was
he's
it?
back.
Yeah, we've got technology.
It was like something that you expect out of a Batman from the 60s. Like, all right, how'd you get brought back? Science!
Yeah.
And like shit like
We
that.
used a magnet and pulled a bullet out of his brain, and he was okay.
Is that what they did?
I mean, no, but it's. I don't want to give anything away, you know.
That's fine.
There's an amnesia aspect to it.
Yeah. And
We're like, try and bring him back to how
Well,
he
how
was
do we
when
feel
he
you
was-
about-
like butterflies.
How do we feel about bringing back Chucky for an actual reboot?
Yeah.
Not a sequel.
Hey, no, yeah.
Not a sequel.
I saw
It's an
the
actual
picture of the doll already, and I gotta say I'm with it. It looks a lot better.
Let me check this out. That is terrifying.
Yeah, I think
He definitely got a facelift. He looks a lot more plastic. I know that sounds weird to say.
He looks a lot more plastic and a lot more sinister.
But I don't see it. Me personally, that just looks like it's a very glossed over version of Chucky.
Well, I mean,
there's nothing wrong with
just
Chucky.
as long as they got fucking that original voice actor, Brad Dourif.
I don't think he's involved with the remake, but I'm not sure.
He should.
I know the original creator of Chucky is not involved with the remake, and he is very against it at this point.
They're going to get Javier Bardem to play Chucky.
Yeah, it'll be amazing. It has nothing to do with the previous movies. If you've seen it, they tried to quote-unquote reboot about 2 movies ago, where it was actually just a sequel, not a reboot at all.
The Seed of Chucky?
No, it wasn't Seed of Chucky.
That was actually one of my favorite Chucky.
And then the most recent one,
Chucky,
where he's in the psych center. I don't remember what it was called, but that movie was fucking killer. Like the newest Chucky that came out like a year ago. It was
really?
amazing.
You thought that was good?
Oh, hell yeah, dude. It was fun. Really? Especially at the end, you got 3 different Chuckies running around. They're all fucking derpy and
Why
shit.
can't we just have original fucking films anymore? Like, what
There's
about
remakes and sequels?
Yeah, what about a haunted fucking Alexa or something?
Well, we kind of have that in real life
yeah,
at this point.
Exactly.
You've seen the shit that's
going on. Well, then make a movie about
Dude,
it.
I'm cutting that out. That's $1 million idea. Haunted Alexa was done originally in 2001. The Space Odyssey. That's not Haunted Alexa.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Actually, the acronym could be how did Alexa life form?
Dude, it's so fucked up. What was thinking?
I think that's me.
God damn it, Javi!
Turn off your vibrator, Javi. Jesus, take the egg out of the ass and let's do this.
Yeah.
So, why'd you make a face like you didn't have
He's like, oh shit, I do got an egg in there. It's probably hard boiled by now.
He's turning red. It's real.
No, that's because my phone dropped into your couch into the chasm that was your couch.
Yeah, my couch is a whore.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. And I finally saw Han Solo, by the way.
Solo, what'd you think of Solo, as soon as you finally saw it?
Shit, man. It was a super cookie cutter.
Yes.
I don't know. It was just weird.
Yes.
It was a paycheck movie for sure.
It was, well, yeah, they spent a lot of money on it. Yeah.
I don't think it made back what they wanted to.
$250 million. And actually, Bob Iger came out this week and said a bunch of shit about the Fox-Disney merger.
It's like, we let it all out too quick. Yeah. We're slowing way the fuck down,
and you know what's so fucked up? I think it's something you said, I think the first or second podcast. Why do they not listen to the fans?
They don't.
Fuck the fans. And literally, Star Wars fans were going, we didn't care much for The Last Jedi. And then they came out with Solo, which people were already kind of upset with because we were kind of behind Lord and Miller directing that. And the changeover to Ron Howard, I know, pissed a lot of people off and made them go like, what the fuck? Like,
and I love Ron Howard, but
we were excited about a Lord Miller because everything they've touched so far has been pretty damn good. And we were excited about the fact that it was going to be a little bit tongue-in-cheek. Evidently, that's the reason they were fired, is because it was a little bit fun.
Yeah, they didn't have like a real script per se.
Well, that was the big thing. Lawrence Kasdan, who had written Empire Strikes Back, and had written the character for a long time, didn't like their interpretation of it. The fact that they were letting them ad-lib so much on the set, and that's why they got fired, because it was too light of a movie. Which, I mean, the end result. It wasn't like a deep, dark movie. I didn't think Solo was too...
It wasn't dark at all.
But at the same time, it wasn't as fun as it
Summer blockbuster.
It would have been. But once again...
It wasn't even that
Do you think
either.
it was the timing? Do you think if 2 months from now we're getting Solo, we'd be amped again?
I think the main complaint is nobody asked for the Han Solo spin-off movie. That's where this all is wrong anyways.
That's not a strong enough character.
His story has already been told in the arc that they have already presented. Like, we don't need to know. You want a layer of mystery about this character. You don't want to know where his morals lie at a lot of points if you're a true Han Solo fan, I think.
That's pretty true.
I
would say the characterization...
A Yoda movie. Fuck yes.
The characterization in the movie is pretty good because he's kind of a hopeful. He's not to that point where he's very jaded and cynical, which is the Han Solo we all love, by the way.
Don't get cocky.
I could kind of see where they were going, where they were going to go over 3 movies and kind of show you him turning into that. And I wasn't against Solo. I thought it was fine. But I agree with Javi. It was very cookie cutter. It was very by the books. And like it hit, and people were calling. They're like, okay, he's going to meet Chewbacca. He's going to get the Millennium Falcon. He's going to do the Kessel Run in the movie.
Now, I will say
exactly
this: Donald Glover as a young Lando, big fucking fan of. That was great. I
will debate that. He was fine. I actually think he wasn't as great as people say he was.
No, he was good because he really emulated I could actually see him as a young.
But here's the problem: he was playing a character on the level of a SNL skit. That's how he played Lando. He wasn't embodying Lando. He was doing a Lando impersonation. And that's what bothered me about his take on the character. He was fine. He was serviceable. Better than the other guy who was playing Han Solo. What's his name? Alden
who gives
Who
a
gives a
fuck?
shit?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're just
Whereas
balls
he-
deep and childish because you.
Dude, I fucking love Childish. And I thought it was really good.
Dude, he's amazing.
You
He's
can't
an amazing
differentiate a good performance from a fucking
Listen,
impersonation.
Maybe I was like fanboy eyes.
I
I
mean,
don't know.
which is
He was
acceptable. I've been there.
He was so-so in it, but at the same time, it's not a terrible movie. In the ending, that when spoilers for Kingsman 3 shows up, Darth Maul shows up, I like that, and I kind of want to see how that plays out. And my theory is they will continue to do this. What they will do is they will do Solo, and then they will do a Boba Fett or Obi-Wan movie, or vice versa, and they will carry over the Darth Maul.
Don't touch Boba Fett. You fucking idiot.
I'm
Just
telling.
leave
I
him
don't think
alone.
Boba Fett needs his own movie. He
Leave him
doesn't.
alone. No, they're gonna ruin it.
You don't want to see Boba Fett?
No.
Movie? You don't want to see Boba Fett? Movie?
I want
As one of the
to-
biggest fans of Boba Fett
Yes,
I've ever met.
that's why I'm saying I don't want to see it. I don't want to.
Because they're gonna fucking ruin it.
They're gonna ruin it for me. Disney fucking sucks ass whenever it comes to Star Wars. Sorry.
Well, what was your theory that they should just let JJ take over
Yeah.
and do it?
Yeah, definitely.
So
He already
oust
did the first
Kathleen
one,
Kennedy.
right. Yeah, but now we've got a trilogy by Ryan Johnson that also nobody fucking asked
Supposedly that is completely canceled.
for.
That's
No,
off the
already
board.
still taking her away on it.
But the other one is the TV
Trilogy for what?
series that.
His own fucking trilogy.
But we've got a TV series coming too for the Disney app,
Big budget,
Mhm.
fucking mass produced one, kind of like Game of Thrones.
and who will be headed by what's his name?
Who will be beheaded?
Game of Thrones style.
God damn.
It'll be headed by what's his name? God, who directed Iron Man? Where's it?
Oh, John Favreau.
Yeah, John Favreau, who is the series
Okay,
writer
I'd
for,
be with that.
for the Star Trek, I think.
Look, the
Star
guy
Wars
took
series.
like the least popular character out of Marvel.
That's
Oh,
probably
They
why
fucking
they brought him in.
exploded that
And
character.
they haven't released any information on it, but everyone's hoping they kind of go Knights of the Old Republic with that
Yeah.
series and kind of
Fuck
go
yeah.
1,000 years, 2,000 years before all this.
Hey everyone, it's just Duck jumping in here real quick to say thank you so much for checking out the podcast today. If you're enjoying it, please head over to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, iTunes, and give We Are Podcast a like. And if you get a chance, head over to our social media. All links can be found in the description. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at /We Are Podcast. And if you're enjoying the podcast today, please share with your friends. It's the only way we can grow this network. With that said, back to the podcast.
All right, y'all, we got to talk about the big news of the week. And I know you've all seen it, so I'm just going to hold up the picture. All right, so Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin! Oh, you've already got it. Fucking yeah. As the Joker. First, they just released a picture of him as Arthur Fleck. And then they released a couple days later, and I didn't see it coming, the actual test footage of them showing him in the Joker makeup. What was y'all's first reaction to that?
It was legit creepy.
Yeah, I loved it. Right off the
It
bat.
was
I could
great.
tell the music choice was great, the framing of him, the kind of smile, you can see he's somewhat of a normal guy, and then the flashes. It was just something perfectly done.
And do you think it's playing off the John Wayne Gacy aspect of it?
I think they went a little Gacy-esque, obviously. You look at that makeup, and what's the first thing you think?
look at the Joker's history. It's a little bit gay, yes, man. He's a fucking psychopath.
He's definitely a psychopath. But the idea that they use that in the pictures you're showing right now, Jake, almost looks like he is working at a kid's birthday party or something like
Almost.
that. And the clown, and that definitely plays into it.
Well,
So the fact that they mirrored his actual makeup and the design made me so fucking
Those
happy.
are scenes from a subway. They got a lot of camera shots from that, where he's down on a subway. But the thing about it is all the people in the background are all wearing clown masks also, like a good majority of them. So it's like he's taken over New York City in a sense. Like there's riots and shit going on. There's a scene with him with the clown mask on. He pulls it off also, but there's a bunch of other people with clown masks on around him.
Do you think it's almost a play on Anonymous, maybe?
I don't know.
You think they could be doing an Anonymous
Maybe.
thing where he...
Or like V for Vendetta.
Kind of,
So,
well,
yeah, I
the
get what
same
you're
thing
saying,
where they're
but-
using a bunch of people and he's trying to hide in a crowd of people?
Maybe
or-
so. Did you see the footage? Like they filmed 2 minutes of him walking outside of Amusement Mile, which if you read Batman and Gotham City, that's a huge part. A lot of stories take.
Is it kind of
place
like the Coney Island of,
Yeah,
of Gotham,
essentially,
right?
yes.
I was like, I don't know why, but I have.
He's
so
in
much
regular
faith.
clothes, and the clown comes running out, and they have an exchange. And he takes the clown's nose off, and he throws it on the ground. And Joker walks away, but he's not Joker yet. But it's online if you want to look.
I
at it.
definitely
Also,
want to check
it's
that
really
out.
good.
What were you going to say, Javi?
I'm just super excited about this one because, all throughout when people found out that he was going to be the Joker, he had the attitude, I don't give a fuck what you think. I'm going to do what I want to do.
Well,
yeah.
I'll give you guys my theory on this. I think I mentioned it before, but I kind of want to get into that.
And it was just kind of like that, like confidence, like, yeah, whatever. I don't give a shit what you think.
Let's actually talk about that, and I want to talk about the origin of the Joker, the character itself, and kind of go through the history of it, and who has played the Joker in the past, and what we think about those people. So, I mean, Batman #1 was released on April 25th, 1940. 1940, and this is the first appearance of the Joker. Now, he was created and credited to Bob Kane, but we have slowly started to realize Bill Finger was the writer, ghostwriter of Batman, okay? And he's the one who's actually created most of the shit that we see. And there's a wonderful documentary on Hulu called
Finding Bill, or
I think it's Fingering Batman. It's Bill and Batman.
Oh, it is a great documentary.
It's fucking killer. And they took a long period of time to actually try to get him credited because obviously Bob Kane took the credit for everything. He's always been listed as I created this and I created that.
So he's like the Tesla of the comic book world.
No, he's like the Edison.
Or Tesla. Yeah, I could swear that Tesla also took some credit.
No, okay.
Bob Kane
is like the Edison.
You're saying Bill Finger is like
the Tesla.
Yes,
Okay,
exactly.
Okay.
Where he created almost all the mythology.
Yeah, they kind of make you hate Bob Kane by the end of the documentary, or, about halfway through.
Well, I think they take... I mean, when you're excited to that, when you're seeing all the shit that happened, yeah, you can't not hate him because he had many chances to say, "Here's Bill!"
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing that pisses me off.
And Bill Finger died alone in a hotel.
Penniless? Yeah.
Alone in a hotel room.
Yeah, really sad story.
But you should definitely watch that. He finally got credited the first time was
Batman versus Superman.
And also, even before that, they were crediting him in a sense because his granddaughter is only living relative. Well, he has a great grandson too. But she was invited even to see Green Lantern before that. So they knew about this. Because Bill Finger helped co-create.
For a long time, they were giving her like little tickets and like movie premiere passes and shit like that. This was going on for years before Bill finally got his credit.
Exactly. And so they finally worked it out. Basically, they just tore up the contract that was signed in like the 40s or before that, maybe 1936. And they were just like, fuck it, we'll start new. They gave her money, not like a whole bunch of money, but they gave her money.
She gets a percentage though now.
Yeah, and they're like, make it fair. So it's fair. But here, when we go talk about the Joker, though, it's not about Bill Finger. It's really about Jerry Robinson, who was the person who was one of the illustrators underneath Bill Finger and worked for Bob Kane too.
Yes.
He is truly, when I read the history of it, he is the one that is responsible for the Joker and his character and the look of the character. Now, it goes back and forth, whether it was Bill or Jerry. It's kind of almost like a Bill and Bob Kane thing, where, like, who is really to take credit for this? But I think Jerry Robinson's the one who came up with this. His brother was a magician, so he always had playing cards laying around the house. Yeah. Okay? And so he took that from seeing the Joker so many times. And then there was a movie that was released also, and I have a picture of the character.
I have seen this
Yes.
before.
Actor Conrad Veidt, portrayal of character Gwynplaine in The Man Who Laughs. And if you look... Right there is a Joker card and the character in black and white of Gwynplaine. And there is no denying that is 100%
That's
the
like
Joker.
the Joker from the 1960s Batman right there. Well, Romero? Alfred
Romero? Caesar Romero.
Oh, we'll definitely get into that too. So in the early comic books, the Joker is portrayed as a criminal mastermind, and he's introduced as a psychopath, a warped, sadistic genius who is out to kill. And that's it, bottom line, he's out to kill. He wasn't going to make it past the first issue, but the editor decided...
kill him off.
Exactly, but the editor decided that they wanted to keep him. And they didn't want to keep him at first. Their complaint, Bill Finger's complaint was, listen, if Batman's the best of the best, but he can't get rid of these enemies at the end of this, what's the point? But that is something that plays into the character that we love, is he doesn't kill. Now, throughout history, he has. And there are instances of Batman that has killed. Yeah. But most people's favorite portion of that lore is that he doesn't kill. He won't cross that line. And the Joker is the antithesis of always trying to get him to cross that line.
Polar opposites.
Exactly. I always look at them as Batman, stoic, brave, strong. Joker, hilarious, insane, tiny, weak,
coward,
genius. Exactly. They are total polar opposites. They are yin and yang, and they complete each other. The wonderful line from Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight was whenever he says, "You complete me." You know, and then you look at that character; it's wonderful. Also, the other thing is you look at the history.
Said, "I don't know how to quit you."
Yeah, he should have. Can't quit you, man. But we'll kind of get into
I could quit you.
Some of this whenever we talk about the Red Hood, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Throughout the 1940s into the 1960s and 70s, he kind of became he stayed as this maniacal genius serial killer, and as the comic code hit at that period of time. They believed that comics were leading to delinquent violence. So they cleaned up all comic books. They took away all the
So
violence.
comic books was that time period's violent video games. That's
Yes,
why
exactly.
the-
Yeah.
So they cleaned it up. It wasn't until the 1980s that they really... Comic writers just said, fuck the comics code.
Well, Stan Lee finally broke on a comic where he couldn't show the dangers of drug abuse.
Oh, is that what happened? And
Yeah,
they decided
so
that-
he finally just said, fuck it, we're going to run the comic anyways. Because it was about, I forget who it was. It was somebody in Spider-Man, I believe, got hooked on fucking heroin. And,
Always heroin, man.
Yeah,
Even
like
in
Speedy.
DC,
Yeah,
Speedy.
fucking
It's
Speedy.
always
for
heroin.
fucking- But the Marvel
Must be
code's like,
something
well,
behind
you
that
can't
heroin.
mention drugs. Okay, but this is saying don't do drugs. You can't mention drugs. Well, whatever. Make the fucking comic anyways.
And that's the thing is in the 80s, they really took it to a new level. And we'll definitely see that with the Batman comics when we get there and the lore of the Joker. But throughout the 60s and 70s, he became more of a prankster, especially when Cesar Romero's version of the Joker came out in Batman 66, who was just purely a prankster. Yeah, exactly. A character that really, more or less, he was just causing issues for Batman. Like, oh, Batman, I'm going to mess this up over here.
I put rocks in his shoes.
That is super annoying. You tied my shoes together.
But that's the thing, is the character became very lighthearted. He became more of a miscreant. He wasn't killing as many people. Obviously,
and Batman's mood matched that also.
Well, yeah, very much so.
But it paralleled to just
it became very
narrative.
quirky. It
Yeah.
became that 1960 camp version of Batman.
One might say that Joker had to adapt to Batman's style because they made him such a fucking deadly do-right and everything.
Well, that's
like
the thing.
putting his
too.
hands on his like, oh,
Yeah.
Even
Joker.
though 1966 Batman was the most popular television show, they did not expect it to
no,
be
even
that
in the
big.
comics is what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
They
made
moved
him a
over
fucking
to that,
bitch.
but eventually the comics, people didn't want to see that version of Batman,
Yeah.
and there was a decline in sale. One of the things I did laugh, though, is like one of the 1970s comic books, one of the funniest things was when the Joker made a bunch of fish with rictus grins. Did y'all ever see that before?
I feel like I've seen the screen caps. From
Dude,
it,
it's
but-
fucking ridiculous. But that was like he was going to sell these new fish, and that was like his evil plan. Like, that's all the further the Joker's. Now, the 80s, whenever that rolls around, really, that's whenever we start seeing the Bronze Age. And the editor during the 70s didn't like the Joker. He didn't want anything to do with him. He's like, he's campy, he's stupid, he's wacky. We need some serious villains in here who can't do any damage.
Right.
So, whenever there was a 4-year disappearance, finally he came back, and then they started to do a little bit darker stuff with him. But we get into the 80s. This is the time that they really took the turn, and you have The Dark Knight Returns. The Joker, who's just a homicidal maniac. And it's a wonderful version of him. So if you've never read The Dark Knight Returns, it takes place in the future.
Amazing. Frank Miller. All the props.
Batman has stopped for years. He's not doing anything. He's an old man. The violence gets so bad in Gotham that he decides to come back. The Joker himself is in Arkham, hasn't talked for years. He's basically catatonic at this point. And whenever he sees the Batman might potentially return,
his face lights up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he comes back as a celebrity version who has been recuperated over time. And
goes on the Tonight Show,
it's so
fucking everything
good.
else.
And everything that happens after that, it's like his master plan came together.
Yeah.
And so, that version of him was one of the very dark portrayals of that character, where he just goes on a killing spree and kills, like 200, 300 people
Insane.
in like a short period of time. And then later we get a retelling of the Red Hood story in The Killing Joke, which is also one of the most sadistic versions. This was 1988.
One of the best reads ever. If you love
amazing.
comic books, it is a must.
Anything Alan Moore is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty damn good, but this is probably one of the greatest comic books ever made. But that version of the Joker, where it tells his origin story, where they tell the Red Hood story, where he's a failed comedian who can't make ends meet. He's pathetic. He can't provide for his wife and his
unborn
He was
child.
unborn at that point.
Yeah.
And then shit goes down, and the one thing that always sticks out to me in that book is one bad day. And that's the whole idea. And that's what he wants to do to Batman. He wants to break him. How he was broken. One bad day, where he's going on a robbery, and so it goes wrong, and he falls into the vat of acid or chemicals or whatever you want to call it.
But he doesn't just break Batman.
But he tries to break Commissioner Gordon.
He does break Gordon.
Well,
too,
Gordon comes back from it and he says,
Yeah.
get him, but don't kill him.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't break him. And so his whole plan to break him
You're right.
never goes through. Does he break Barbara Gordon, too? And my other question is, in The Killing Joke, does he rape her? Is it ever
It's
definitive?
implied.
It's implied,
It's
right?
implied.
It's pretty heavily implied. That's
Yeah.
what I always thought. So,
Well, we can also get whenever we get to the ending.
the ambiguous ending where does he kill the Joker or does
maybe
he not?
Batman did break.
I think it was Grant Morrison a couple years ago who really brought that out, and he said, well, he kills him at the end. And everyone's like, what? What? They're like, look at this panel. I mean, obviously he's breaking his neck. Now, I look at the panel, I don't see it, but I do believe in when the ha-ha-ha-has end, and there's still the water and, the reflection from the lights of the police coming and stuff like that. It's possible he killed him, but it's ambiguous enough that I don't know. It's how you want to read it.
Yeah.
That's the wonderful thing about it.
The main thing is that it went to straight silence.
Yes.
Is what they're implying.
So it's possible he killed
him? The insane laughter abruptly stops,
right.
Is what they're implying in the panel.
Yeah. So possibly he killed him, possibly didn't. I kind of like the ambiguous aspect of it.
I do.
But there's no denying that is that's an amazing story. I do think, even though they did the Killing Joke animated version, I don't think it lives up to what the book is itself.
Yeah, they had to pad it too much.
And if you're going to show it to somebody, please cut out the first 20 minutes of that. You don't.
Pointless.
Yeah, it's pointless to the story. I guess it
It's
works
if
you didn't know it, but I would just cut to whenever he walks into Arkham to talk to the Joker at the beginning. But there's so many iconic scenes from the fact that opening when he walks into Arkham. And he sits down with the Joker to have a conversation with him. He's like, I know this is going to end.
It's not.
Yeah. One of us is going to end up dead, to whenever they find, the bodies, to whenever they go to the carnival, the freakishness of the carnival.
Yeah.
The possible rape of Barbara. Have you read this book, Javi? You're being
No, I've never read it. I've never even seen it.
Dude, you've got to read it. We'll get you a copy, dude.
Yeah.
You don't even know. Anyhow, I could talk about that all day. But the origin story of the Joker, the Red Hood origin, I'm hoping that's what the new Joaquin Phoenix movie really is. I hope that they do a Killing Joke version of that where they do the Red Hood. Maybe they don't do it. Maybe that's his clown name is the Red Hood or something like that. Or maybe they play into it some way. But they've got to do a version of the Killing Joke, I think.
Well, from what I understand, this is a non-definitive origin story. It's just a one-off. So nothing will be set in stone.
I have a theory about that. We'll get into it in a little bit. I really do think that I think this is playing into a bigger thing that DC's doing that's very smart. And we've kind of talked about it
Did
before.
you just use the word smart in DC?
Yes, and I think they're making a fucking power move that's going to save their universe. But we'll get into that. And then we had throughout the 90s, there's a continuation. They did Arkham Asylum. He makes different appearances in The Long Halloween. And then most recently, what is it?
Let's not forget about Mark Hamill.
Oh, yeah, we'll definitely get into that. But what was the most recent series that you said that you just read? A Death in the Family? Not A Death in the Family. That's huge, where he kills Jason Todd. That was one of the biggest things. If you didn't know this, Javi, he killed the second Robin. And this was in the late 80s. Basically, the second Robin, Jason Todd, was not a character that many people liked. They didn't like that he wasn't like Dick Grayson. He was a very different character. He was brash. He was arrogant. He would always leave.
Just an all-around dick.
Yes, basically. So they did basically I think you could call a 1-800 number. Or
at the end of it, you could vote if Robin lived or if Robin died.
It always reminds me of the Andy Kaufman situation where he got put off SNL.
Right.
But that was the thing, and people voted him
dead. But overwhelmingly, they were surprised that they were going to do it.
Yeah,
okay.
And so they killed him.
Beat the shit out of him with a crowbar.
The joke, exactly, and then he exploded him. And it was fucking awesome.
Fucking shit.
And so later, the character Jason Todd does come back. He goes into the Lazarus Pit, and he comes back as the Red Hood. A character that references the Joker's beginning. He was killed by the Joker, and he was resurrected into a character the Joker once embodied. So, wonderful fucking stuff. And there's a great animated movie. I can't remember what it's called. Rise of the Red Hood or Under the Red Hood.
Under the Red Hood.
So fucking good.
Yeah.
It's definitely a version of the Red Hood storyline, but it's more focused on Jason.
Well, whoever's doing DC's animated shit should just take over the fucking cinematic shit. Like, what the hell's going on here?
I agree with you 100%.
I will say that DC's animated features are definitely a lot better than Marvel's.
Well, what I was going to bring up is Death in the Family. Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo. This is the most recent landmark version of the Joker. It's the Joker who gets his face cut off, who has somebody else cut off his face, and then later comes back, and he basically just
wearing his own face.
Dude, it's so fucking good.
Yeah.
And I think you said you read it. I read the graphic novel collection of it. It's a really good storyline because at the end of it, he ends up with all the Bat family sitting around the table. You got all the Robins, Dick Grayson, Jason Todd as the Red Hood. He's got Tim Drake. All three of them sitting there. Alfred, Barbara, and Batman. And basically he's like, you need to choose which one's your favorite Batman. You need to choose. And that's how the storyline ends.
Yeah.
It's fucking so good. Because basically, he puts all their faces on platters, dude. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's wild.
Anyway, so that's all kind of we've been kind of leaning towards it. Versions of the Joker throughout history, especially in film and TV. So we really have to start with Cesar Romero, which I don't know about you guys. When I saw the original Batman when I was a kid, I didn't like it. I didn't care for it. I thought it was weird. I thought it was off. I didn't know what it was about the 6'6" Batman.
I thought it was super campy and fun.
I loved it.
Love it now.
Yeah.
I love it now.
I loved it as a kid.
Yeah, I couldn't stand it. But I always liked Cesar Romero's Joker. I always thought he was crazy and fun. And I never realized that he had his mustache painted over.
Yeah.
I never saw that. But
Look, if this doesn't work out, I still need to work. So I'm just going to keep the mustache. I'll paint over it.
Oh, yeah, dude. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that one, I was like,
fine.
it's so fucking weird.
Yeah.
What was it about that version of the character that you think that we like so much?
His zany and campiness. He was a
Super
comic
campy.
book character come to fucking life.
Oh, yeah.
The fucking laugh was
Oh, the
great.
laugh was amazing.
Yeah.
It was just fucking killer.
I don't know if you've seen the episode where he escapes from prison at the beginning of
Dude,
it.
I've
They're
seen them
playing-
all. I couldn't tell you the same.
They're playing baseball, but he's like throwing underhand pitch with
Oh, yeah.
screws in it. Like, what the fuck is going on?
And that version of the character, obviously, even when I was a kid, I think that even before the '89 Batman came out, I knew that was the main bad guy. I always felt like that was his villain. I always felt like that was the one he needed to go against.
Right.
And Cesar Romero played the Joker in 19 episodes plus the movie.
Which is funny because they really focused on the Penguin and the Riddler
They
a lot
did.
in the 60s
They did.
series.
It's just something about that character.
Yeah. He's
fucking magnetic.
iconic.
Yeah. And then, he would use things like the Joy Buzzer, the Joke Flower,
I think
gas
that's what it
grenades.
was.
Always had his henchmen.
Zany little
Dude,
toys.
maybe that's why as a child you kind of focus on it and go, oh, okay, he's fun. He's got the toys.
Yeah, even as a kid, whenever the '89 one came out, but they released all the toys with it, I remember Joker being like my favorite action figure for some reason.
Well, let's just skip through it. Jack Nicholson, 1989 version of the Joker.
Favorite.
I was going to say, is that your favorite?
Yeah, it is.
I go back and forth, man.
Well,
I really do.
it's okay. The reason why it's my favorite is because I saw it, and I remember seeing it in movie theaters as a kid. It just stood out to me as a special time, and I've always been a huge Jack Nicholson fan, but this was my Batman at the time. Even though I was 7 years old whenever it came out.
Dude, how were you not caught up in the hype? You remember how big it was, dude.
Right.
Like, everything was Batman. And you're just like,
my whole
Batman.
Christmas, like, I had the fucking badass Batmobile that came with the cover. Like, you know where he hits the car alarm and it covers up with the armor on there? Yeah. It came with like a little plastic cover that you could put over it. I had the whole Bat Cave. Like, I even had Bob the Goon. My number one toy.
And that's what's so fucking great about that version of the Joker is he's got the Jack Nicholson charisma. He sounds like Jack Nicholson, but he definitely, you can believe he's sadistic.
They gave him carte blanche.
And they gave him...
Shoot the scenery.
Even more so, he is the main character more than Batman in that
He got
movie.
top billing. He was the highest paid.
I mean, and what was his contract deal? He got like 25% of the gross.
Yeah,
afterwards.
he's fucking...
He pimped it.
Paid.
100% pimped it.
That's why another reason why I like Jack.
And the other thing is they used Robin Williams against him in the contract negotiations. They said, if you don't take this, Robin Williams will. And then he was like, okay, well, I'll take it, but then you give me this. Yeah. And he got a huge portion of the toy sales.
Yes.
Which, like Jake said, bottom. I'm sure I had a couple. I'm sure you had a couple Batman things. Who didn't have Batman? Yeah. Batman and Beetlejuice, man, taking each other on. That's literally.
Yeah,
literally.
Seriously, the fucking Beetlejuice toys, that was insane.
But that version kind of follows the Red Hood storyline in certain ways.
The whole chemical plant, you know.
The fact that it's a little bit different. He's not just a low-level loser goon. He's kind of...
He's the right-hand man.
Exactly.
He's the fucker.
He's got that charisma. Batman tries to save him. He falls into it. He was already insane, but he went even more insane.
He was like Ray Winstone in The Departed. He played his lackey to himself in the bar.
He's literally playing... I mean, he's just playing Jack Nicholson, but it's such a good version of Jack Nicholson.
Oh, yeah.
That is crazy.
Tops.
And it's amazing.
He was in the prime.
Side note, that's also my favorite Batman.
Is it your favorite Batman?
Michael Keaton will always be number one for me.
I mean, honestly, just the movie alone, I could still watch it. I'd put it in all the time.
Do you remember it as dark and, like, brooding, or do you... Like, it's not. It is, but it isn't. I think there's that noir feeling to it, and that timeless
It was
feeling.
very dark whenever it came out.
Well, I would agree with you.
Like, 89, you go from watching fucking...
Well, I mean, like we were just talking about, the 80s, The Dark Knight Returns, and also The Killing Joke. It takes a lot from that right there.
Rated R movies like Predator. That's a bright, colorful fucking killfest movie, but it's not like fucking dark. Like, oh shit! Like, I know it's kind of different to compare there, but I mean, from one opposite end of the spectrum to the other. It was a dark movie for her.
And the best line from that movie, if you ask me, is "Tell me, kid, have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?" Oh, it's so fucking good.
Why did you say that?
And to tie him in, at that point, he'd never been tied into the murder of Bruce Wayne's family.
I like the artistic liberty.
They did.
They got rid of Joe Chill.
I think it works.
It does.
I think
plays
that
out
version.
perfect.
I think that version of it's better than any other version.
Honestly, it really does because Joe Chill's just a throwaway fucking character.
Exactly. Make Jack Napier, which was his character's name in that, the killer of the Wayne family.
Even more reason for fucking Bruce Wayne to lose his shit and just be like, "Oh, I want to see this guy brought to justice." Yeah. You know.
All right. So next we'll talk about, at least right now, we're going to skip Mark Hamill. We're going to move on to Heath Ledger's version of the Joker, and that's why I said to Jake, "What's your favorite version?" Because obviously most people go between the two. I enjoy them both for different reasons. So we got, The Dark Knight 2008.
Favorite Joker.
He was also mentioned in Batman Begins. No one ever brings this up. There's a scene in Batman Begins where he's running through Arkham, and you cut to one of the people who are
in the
there,
cells,
and it's just the eyes. And I know it's not Heath Ledger, but I'll tell you what, that fucking looks the same as Heath Ledger's Joker. Those eyes match up almost perfectly, dude. So I'm pretty sure that was meant to be the Joker.
Throwaway cameo.
So the Joker in The Dark Knight, no backstory, creature of chaos, of anarchy. It's his portrayal of the Joker that's amazing. And I don't know about you guys, when I saw it in theaters, I was like, because I was along with everyone else. There's no way he's going to top Jack Nicholson's taking the Joker.
So you don't do Jack Nicholson's Joker.
He did his own thing. Yeah. Fuck, man. He set that bar.
And he's so terrifying in that movie, along with that single note that.
But shout out to Hans Zimmer and killer soundtrack.
That's what I'm saying. And he is like the best thing, dude. How you could literally just watch those scenes, and he's coming off the screen. I think even Michael Caine.
You were supposed to put
as big as a tangerine. I think that's one. But he, that's pretty good. But he even said, he was magnetic on it.
He really
won after he passed away. He won the Oscar.
What was it? Posthumous Academy Award?
Exactly.
Now, do you think he would have won that if he was still alive?
Yes, I do think he would have won that. I think that he was riding high after, like you said, I can't.
Literally riding high.
Yeah, after I Can't Quit You, and into that, I think he was on the way to winning one regardless. Now we know that there's sometimes with the Academy Awards,
Joker back.
They give him. I'm just saying, he probably would have won. You don't think he would have won?
I don't know.
I mean,
I just think that.
Who was he up against that year?
Who gives a fuck? He won, dude.
Well,
rightfully.
There were some good movies out that came out
Name
at
one.
the same time. Iron Man came out the same year.
Yeah, but none of those had like.
I'll give you that.
Yes,
please.
Heath Ledger Joker, I think, is iconic, and there was
great.
Before. I mean, he passed away before the movie came out. He blew us away. We also still didn't know how good it was going to be.
Well, I think there was a lot of upset whenever he was officially selected.
Oh, yeah.
Really? You have the guy from 10 Things I Hate About You play the fucking
but
Joker?
But also at the same time, people weren't. They didn't realize. Yeah, you got Batman Begins, but whenever you think the Joker's cast in the movie, you automatically think silly, zany. Like some shenanigans, and
man, this guy was just all about.
Yeah, he just flipped it on its ear.
The fact that he plays it like a psycho.
Well, yeah, it's more realistic. Like this is a Joker that you could believe would actually exist in our time.
And that always, like, you look at Batman Begins or the Dark Knight trilogy and all that. It is over the top. It is crazy. They ground it a little bit. I think it's the filming techniques that grounds it the most. The fact that so much of that movie is outlandish, but at the same time, they film it in a way that it looks like a drama instead of an action.
And it's also like Kevin Smith mentioned several times, they took it out into the real world. It's not on a fucking set.
Dude, I was 30 minutes away from when they were filming the third one.
Yeah,
I was pumped. I wanted to go so bad, but I had to work. Ugh. Whenever they did the stadium scene, dude, because they were casting extras like crazy. It was just like, show up.
Lovely voice.
So good. Well, that's what I was going to talk about. The Dark Knight Rises. There was a lot of rumors that whenever David S. Goyer made the outline, the first movie was going to be Batman Begins, kind of the way it is. The second movie was going to deal with the Joker. And the third movie was going to deal with the Joker being taken to trial. And with Harvey Dent getting disfigured during that trial.
That would have been awesome.
Now, eventually, they condensed those ideas of the second and the third movie into The Dark Knight.
Correct.
And when The Dark Knight Rises, before they made that, Christopher Nolan wasn't even sure if he wanted to make a third one. And
there was also speculations on who the bad guy was be. I know there was talks about Philip Seymour Hoffman being
As
the
the
penguin, which would have been fucking awesome.
dope when he died.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, interestingly enough, was in talks to be the Riddler. I think also at some point.
And
before.
Robin Williams was supposed to play Hugo Strange. At
Yeah.
one point. There was a lot
I
of
also
talk.
Which would be awesome if you could picture
Batman Forever too.
fucking Robin Williams with a goddamn Lincoln beard and a bald head and some little fucking
Big
circular
speed.
glasses. Like, that is Hugo Strange for sure.
But I want to talk about the Dark Knight Rises
Yes,
novelization.
please,
They do mention the Joker briefly in this paragraph. Now that the Dent Act had made it all but impossible for the city's criminals to cop an insanity plea, and Blackgate Prison had replaced Arkham Asylum as a preferred location for imprisoning both convicted and suspected felons. The worst of the worst were sent here, except for the Joker, who rumor had it was locked away as Arkham's sole remaining inmate. Perhaps he had escaped. Nobody was really sure, not even Selina.
Yeah.
So that is the last mention of that version of the Joker. There's no denying that. I think Jared Leto's version, I think it's just a continuation of that version.
Ooh.
I think he acts a lot like
I think he was plagued by the same demon that Heath was plagued with before he took the role.
Well, let's
is
talk
you
about it.
cannot, you don't want to do Jack Nicholson.
You don't
You
want
don't-
to
You want to make it your own.
Exactly.
So I think Jared Leto tried pushing it so far the opposite direction, where it almost kind of back to zany that it's almost it's campy at a lot of times with the fucking grill and everything.
Well,
else,
that's the thing.
like,
Was
and
it
the
too
tattoos.
soon? It was.
I think it was too soon.
It was only 8. It had been 8 years though. That's almost an entire
You gotta
decade.
think that Ledger set that bar so fucking high that whoever was going to be the Joker after him, no matter, it could have been 20 years from now, they just would have compared it, but
So they went
not
with,
as good.
So they went with Hot Pants, Hot Topic Joker instead.
Pretty much, yeah.
Now here's the thing with that.
Like, he was like the lab rat to
This
see
is-
how the audience would react to a new Joker.
Yeah, you got to think the time frame between Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger was 20 years, 21
Exactly.
years.
And people were still questioning. if
Yeah,
it was
they
gonna
were
be
still
possible.
comparing.
And then you go from a person who won an Oscar after he passed away for that role.
First comic book movie Oscar on top of that, anyway.
Well, here's the thing. There were previous ones. I think the original
sound editing and stuff like
makeup
that.
effects had one. I think the first Batman won for makeup effects.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But like you're saying, an actor who won Best Supporting Actor in that role in a comic book movie, the Christopher Nolan's movie really did heighten it to the point where you could win an Oscar through a comic book movie, a medium that's always just been considered popcorn fun.
Yeah.
But now you've got 8 years later, Jared Leto takes on the role. I thought it would be fine. He just won the Oscar for Dallas Buyers Club. I have always thought he's a decent actor. Everything he's in, he's memorable. Even
in Fight Club,
Fight
I still
Club,
remember from
he's
Fight
good.
Club.
I mean,
even
American
Suicide
Psycho.
Squad, he was memorable.
Well, he is, and that's the thing. He's in
Just
it a
wanted to
total of
stress
like
up the beautiful.
5-10 minutes of the movie. He's more or less just there to bolster Harley Quinn as a character.
Yeah. Well, there's a bunch of footage that's on this cutting room floor.
Do you think it was on the cutting room floor because it didn't service the story, or do you think he was so fucking out of control, going to what Javi said, sending used condoms to
That was a
his
lie.
castmates,
That was a
sending
lie?
bullets?
He wasn't like a complete
He didn't
fuckhead
send
with it?
used condoms. He did do some stupid shit, but the used condoms one, they
I send
came
used
out
condoms
said-
to people every day. I don't know why you guys are bothered by it.
Well, yeah, nobody's up in arms like, oh, I can't act like this.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
Who am I, Will Smith? Why are you sending used condoms?
Did they build it up too much? Do you think? Did they try to?
I
Make
think
that?
they tried putting a lot of fucking
I think he
heat
did.
behind it. Like,
I think he did.
I don't think that he had enough time to even get method on the fucking character.
Well, and that's
You know, he's like, "Oh, I'm crazy. I'm the Joker. Yeah, I'm really digging this, guys. Come on, give me the green hair." And then it's like, "Oh, I'll send bullets." That would be something the Joker would do. He didn't. He tried to get in the mindset, but he didn't.
Well, I mean,
Get
look at
into the
it.
mindset.
That's the thing that killed Heath Ledger, supposedly, is the fact that he
Supposedly.
was so into that character. He kept the daily diary. He went into seclusion by himself. He had nightmares about this character. He couldn't sleep. He was so embodied by the character that he became the character, and the character overtook him. And eventually, the sleeping pills took him from that. And then you got
Should have been Jared Leto. That's all I'm saying.
Well, is that what did you guys feel about that when you saw that?
I did not like Leto's Joker at all.
Yeah.
Just I still firmly have whoever was going to follow Heath Ledger was automatically doomed to fail. no matter how
That's
fucking
not
good it
so.
was gonna be.
Wait, what about if they got Willem Dafoe? And
Willem
it was
Dafoe?
fucking directed by like
Fuck! Willem
P.T.
Dafoe!
Anderson doing fucking.
He didn't play the Joker already when he was a Green Goblin?
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly. it.
Bro, Willem Dafoe as the Joker, shit.
Willem
He's going to be an
Dafoe-
Aquaman.
Yeah, exactly. But as the Joker, and you get Michael Keaton back as Batman.
I'd be down with that.
Yeah.
So did you like his version of it.
Okay, so the deal with Jared Leto, I wanted to like it, and there's parts of it that I do like. I do own the movie on Blu-ray, the extended cut. I do watch it regularly. I still like the movie.
I like it.
It's a popcorn movie. We've all established this, but it's just good fun, and it doesn't. I'm not so deep into fucking Suicide Squad, the comic as it is, that I don't really care that much about these characters other than Harley Quinn and Joker. It made me a fan of these characters more than anything, really. Like El Diablo in it. Fucking amazing. He was the best character. Fucking
R.I.P.
yeah, serious.
And he got a blowjob, too. In a fucking DC movie, he's getting blown by his wife as she's talking to him. And I'm watching, I'm just like, this is
And he's
awesome.
shooting fire.
I was like, this
mouth.
shit was awesome. My only issue, really, with that movie is the putties. And by that, I mean the Power Ranger characters that they defeat.
They were just
over
like
and over again.
walking masses of eyeballs.
Exactly. I was just like, what the fuck are these things? It didn't make any sense.
Oh yeah, Incubus was horrible, and the Enchantress's brother.
I thought you meant the lead singer of Incubus was in the movie.
Brandon?
Oh yeah, no. 30 Seconds to Mars. My bad, not Incubus.
But I think it's a decent movie. I think he was upset because they found a bunch of stuff. But we'll get into our theory, and I still think it is. I think that is Jason Todd.
He got upset that all his shit was left on the cutting room floor.
Dude, it was.
For the most part.
So he would not want to work with the director of the Tree of Life.
And I want to get into this, I think this new movie, I think they're doing what the fans said, where this is Jason Todd, or this is Tim Drake, or this is some version of the Joker. I do believe there's a really good film theory out there that shows why this is most likely Robin, who was turned to the Joker. And the big thing they play into is in the beginning of Suicide Squad, he says to Harley Quinn, you took away my memories. You think that's fair? Something along those lines.
Yeah.
And he goes, I can't remember anything before, and now I'm going to repay the favor, or something like that. I think this Joaquin Phoenix Joker, and I've said this before, is the original Joker. Notice they're doing this film. Then they're doing the Batman. Yeah. And they hit, and they're just like, oh, it's a different universe, but we're going to keep this one going. It's a big fucking ploy, is all it is. They're playing the fans. This is how they're doing it. They're making up all these lies on the side so they can do what the fans want. And I kept thinking about that today, what you always say. Do what the fans want. This is what they're doing right now. They are doing the original Joker. Batman would be aged perfectly after that as Ben Affleck, who would have started in the mid-90s.
Yeah.
So you got 80s Joker, who was older, mid-90s. And then when you look at Batman Says, how many people, became heroes, how many people stayed that way, or whatever he says in Batman vs. Superman. If you did the Joker standalone movie, you bring in the Batman, then they'll tie it together where the Joker, a la Batman Beyond, whenever he turns Tim Drake into a mini version of the Joker, turns whoever this Robin was. There's no way they are not doing that. And if they aren't doing that, they're fucking idiots, because that buys back BVS for me, and that buys back, not Justice League because I don't care, but it buys back Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah,
Big Bad Wolf.
totally. Let's all just agree that Justice League should be forgotten.
I'm good.
Oh, that movie.
But like, if they take that, they build the Joker, then they do a Batman movie with a version of that where he takes a young Robin and transforms him into.
You think maybe they would do Damian Wayne?
What are you wearing?
My shirt's all fucking ripped and it's getting worse.
I thought that you had like a gun holster there.
I thought it was a grocery bag tied up.
I did. It looks like that too. What is it?
It's my shirt turning.
It's packing tape. He's got a big tear going down his shirt
We're
right
having
here,
a
and it's not
Jason
even
Todd
covering
moment.
it now at this point. Now he just looks like a fucking hobo.
Wow.
Oh, bro.
I literally thought you were wearing a vest because your phone's sitting up there like that. I don't know why you look like you look like Murtaugh in the ring. But anyhow,
back to film theory.
I feel like
I want to see your movie already.
I really think that that's what they're doing. I don't think they'll do Damian Wayne because I don't think the character's been around long enough for people to care about him. But possibly, maybe that Joker is Damian Wayne. That would hurt even worse.
I was going to say they make the new Batman Damian Wayne as opposed to getting Tim Drake to take over the mantle. Like, I feel like people would nowadays think it's weird to have a ward, Maybe a son to carry on the legacy might work a little better.
And Damian Wayne is in a lot of ways like Jason Todd, except for he's a homicidal maniac.
Exactly.
He's willing to kill anyone at any time, and he doesn't understand why Batman won't.
Violence sells, folks.
And that does play in because Dick Grayson does kind of tamper down, because in the comics, Dick Grayson took on Batman's mantle, and Damian, of course, was Robin. So it's a possibility. Except for Damian was killed, so...
Yeah.
But I mean, Lazarus Pit and all that, so maybe he can come back.
Well, the way that they take artistic liberties and mishmash stories.
I'm fine with that. That's what I'm hoping they do with this. I hope it is.
Like, from a studio point of view, I can see how that could actually make sense.
Well, we had
Because they already got Jared Leto in contract for various movies, and they don't have it for Joaquin Phoenix, so...
We had too many clues, albeit if they were fan theories in those movies leading up, to point to it being Jason Todd.
Even when David Ayer goes, it's not Jason Todd, you're just like you're obviously fucking lying.
Like, why would you even bother telling us that?
You were the biggest liar ever. He's just like, it's not Jason Todd.
Yeah.
I promise.
Well, I promise it isn't him.
You fucking hairdressing son of a bitch. I know it's fucking Jason Todd. Don't lie to me, cunt.
He's like Joel Silver.
My bad. Oh, yeah. Dude, he's the gangster Joel Silver.
Yeah.
There's no denying. He's so thug, but he likes his haircut.
Yeah, fucking that documentary about the death of Superman Lives with Joel Silver on there, talking about what a badass he was. It was so great. Like, him talking about himself and what a rough, good Nick he was.
Not Joel Silver. What's that guy's name?
Oh.
The guy who was Barbara Streisand. Fuck it. What's his name?
John Peters.
John
is
Peters.
who we're
That's what
looking
it
at.
is.
I was saying Joel Silver. Joel Silver, I'm sorry.
He's fabulous, too.
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
To John Peters,
To
when he's
John
talking
Peters.
about beating the shit out of people. Dude, I believe everything that guy says,
Yeah,
too.
it's hilarious, though.
If you ever believe it, dude. Because that guy, evidently he would just beat the crap out of, like, his people working for him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've been in 100,000 street fights and shit like that. Fucking awesome.
He's the Billy Mitchell of movies.
Dude, I'm serious.
Like,
Everything he
serious.
says, like, is amazing. Have you ever seen that shit, Javi?
If
If you've never looked it up, folks, look up Kevin Smith, Superman, what is it, Superman Lives?
It's like Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith is featured on
And
it
he tells
as
a
one of the
wonderful
interviewees on a documentary called "The Death of Superman Lives: What Happened," and it's about the Tim Burton, Nicolas Cage
Superman.
Superman that was supposed to take place in the late '90s, '97, something like that. That never took off, but they got as far as screen test, had a script together.
Those screen tests look pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Some of those, I was with their version of Superman. I mean, yeah, it's pretty
There's
good.
also a really good podcast called You Must Remember This, where it talks about Barbara Streisand and his relationship, and everything that he talks about there, he talked about then, and this is like in the 70s and the 80s.
Yeah.
That guy did not change, and he started as a hairdresser on the mean streets. Like, dude, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about what could possibly be the best version of the Joker ever. And it is put in the same, there was a film released in theaters, so you could say it's a film version of the Joker.
There was two.
Mark Hamill. You're right, there was.
Mask of the Phantasm.
Mask of the Phantasm, and eventually the Killing Joke got a theatrical release. So, Mark Hamill, of Star Wars fame, gotta say it, you can't say it without it. He's not against it. Does one of, if not the definitive version of the
it's
Joker.
definitive.
Yeah.
Like, you ever
When
seen
you
the
read the
documentary,
Joker-
I Know That Voice?
Yes.
You seen it, right?
Yes, John DiMaggio.
Every one of them said, Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
That is the Joker.
Well, in the same sense, we could do the same with Kevin Conroy as Batman.
Yes, exactly. They are the definitive. When I read Batman, I hear either Mark Hamill
You
as
do
the
hear
Joker
Kevin
or
Conroy's
Kevin
voice,
Conroy
and it
as
doesn't
Batman.
help that the fucking video games, they nailed it all, so...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And even just Batman,
Or it
the
does
animated
help.
series. That is... Even when I was younger, I'm like, this is Batman.
Yeah.
Like, even
Truly.
though... Every time I watch it, I'm like, this is Batman.
Well,
This is what Batman should be.
they kept the march also from Danny Elfman.
I think
the
that
fucking
was genius.
theme was
I think-
fucking...
You can't get better than that theme.
No.
In fact, they brought him back
That
for
is
Justice League.
Batman.
That's Batman.
Yeah.
And I said, just like John Williams' theme is
Yes.
Superman. That's
and-
it.
Yes.
Period. Done. You can't... Even though da-na-na-na-na-na-na, it's also Batman. But
Yeah, of course.
but at the same
For
time...
this tone Batman.
Whenever they did Spider-Man Homecoming and they just used a Spider-Man,
Yes.
Spider-Man, I was like, why didn't you do that before?
Right.
Fucking genius. But anyhow, Mark Hamill's version of the Joker is the definitive version of Joker. Everything about him. Originally, they had cast Tim Curry in the role as the Joker. And after they did the entire season, they literally brought Mark Hamill in to redo the voice.
Reread the lines.
Yes, reread the lines. And then he became the definitive version of the Joker. Our childhood was definitely, like, that is that character.
Oh, yeah.
The way he can go up and down with his voice, the way he can be menacing. and
that
fun
laugh. His laugh is just like...
is amazing. That's
It's like,
the
oh.
best Joker laugh ever. And like Jake was saying, they carried that over into the Arkham City games, or the Arkham Asylum game, and then Arkham City. And then after that, he was replaced, but the guy, Troy Baker, who does the voice now, is just doing an impersonation of Mark.
Yeah.
Hamill. It's pretty much the exact same thing.
Yeah.
What is it about that version, though? That is it the range? I think it has to
It
be.
is.
the range.
Yeah, okay. It perfectly embodies the voice that you would hear whenever you're reading a fucking Batman comic. You
Absolutely.
look at the guy, you see his face, the fucking long, gaunt face, the long nose, skinny, gangly, and you just hear this voice.
It's just like...
Yeah.
And he is funny. He is menacing. he is wacky.
He's
has
like the
things
perfect balance of
Honestly, you
fucking
probably could have
crazy.
fucking slapped some makeup on Mark Hamill.
and let him be him.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying, is he is everything throughout the history of the Joker that made him amazing. All brought up to this character. Bruce Tim Paladini took the writing, made the perfect version of that character that runs the gambit between everything he was before and everything he would eventually become.
And that voice just encompasses all that. And it's just like...
Well, I mean, you guys can see how I feel about him anyway.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the Mask of the Phantasm is a wonderful version of it. I was always kind of bummed out when I was a kid, and we get into Paul Dini created Harley Quinn for that series. And I never realized how abusive that relationship was.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's fucking... I shouldn't be laughing, but, like, it is the epitome of a toxic poison relationship.
I always like how he'd leave her behind to take the rap.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of escape.
He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And that's
she doesn't either.
The one thing about the Suicide Squad
Yeah, they don't make them like that anymore.
Yeah. Well, the Suicide Squad version...
When did they stop
he
making
liked
those
her.
angels?
Yeah.
How the fuck was your dad?
How the fuck was your name?
But Mask of the Phantasm did not have Harley Quinn in it. I was always kind of bummed out with that because I thought it was fucking the robot in that movie.
Well, I mean, at a certain point, it becomes over character saturation.
Well, he, I think, is the darkest version of that character in that movie. He doesn't give a fuck. He is a murderer. He is a killer. He is a continuation of the Jack Napier character out of the 1989 Batman movie, to the point where they literally use that name. And it is a storyline trying to find the Joker who killed the person who ends up being the Phantasm's father.
Ugh,
So
so convoluted.
if you haven't seen the movie, though, you gotta watch it. That's an amazing. Have you seen the hobby?
Yeah.
You're over there. You're doing your hobby.
And
silence.
if you remember, whenever the movie was coming out, they had a toy line for the animated series as well. And the toy for the Phantasm totally gave away the plot for the movie. It did.
You take that off.
Yeah, it showed her without the mask on. You're like, whoa, it's a chick!
It was a very... Oh, can't be!
God damn it, I don't want to go see this movie. I'm not buying this stupid toy.
She got some broad shoulders.
Now buy me this muscly He-Man. Gay! I'm gonna play with some chick toy. Hey, we didn't touch on Zach Galifianakis.
I was about to talk about that. The next one that was in the films, 2017, the Lego Batman movie. Sorry,
Loved
Zach.
the movie.
What do you feel about his portrayal of the Joker? I feel like it's just Zach Galifianakis.
It is, but
It's
it's
just
a
Chip
tone
Baskets
for
as
it.
the Joker.
Like, let's be real, that
That movie is fun, though.
Will Arnett is a pretty damn good
He
Batman
is.
voice.
He is.
Like, if you can't have Kevin Conroy, at least you got him, and he nailed what the role was supposed to be.
Even in the
It was
Lego
supposed
movie,
to be the
he nailed
fun,
it.
over the top, full of confidence.
Right.
You know, I'm Batman.
I'm
Like,
shit. And
yeah.
the extreme sarcasm of that
Yeah,
character.
because he
Great.
played Batman like we would all play Batman,
Exactly.
because we all idolize Batman. Like, I'm Batman.
Like, I
Literally,
was so moment like antithesize that as like the first try moment.
Literally.
Where he just kept trying and trying to finish like, oh I got it, first try.
Yeah.
The Justice League commentary we did, we're just like, I own that. I own
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
It is. Come on, Mr. Batcat. But seriously, it's Zach Galifianakis' Joker. He was fine. I like that movie, and I also kind of like the fact that they play into the love affair of the Joker and Batman.
Yeah.
All right, some other people who did voices just real quick of the Joker. Frank Welker, who was known for being an amazing voiceover artist who has spanned, I think, 6 decades at this point. Mostly known as Fred from Scooby-Doo in the original.
I got one.
Good.
Larry Storch.
Larry
From
Storch, a comedian.
F Troop.
Yes, back in the day.
He
I think
played a
did-
version of Joker on Scooby-Doo.
I think he did the very first animated
Yeah,
version of the
he
Joker,
did.
which might have actually predated the 66 version
He
of the
did, I
Joker.
believe.
Kevin Michael Richardson during the Batman in the early 2000s. He did
Oh,
a
that's the
version.
black guy. Yeah, he's pretty.
Oh, I thought it was the other Michael Richards. No, wait.
Yeah, Michael Winslow or
Yeah.
or the guy from Police Academy.
I thought he was talking about Kramer. I was like, wait,
Oh,
that is
yeah,
not
yeah.
a black
Yeah,
guy.
he said something about black folks,
yeah.
though. If y'all remember. Troy Baker, like I said, took over from Mark Hamill. He basically just does a version of Mark Hamill. Goes a little bit more graphic.
He does the Lego video games?
He does the Arkham Origin games now.
Okay.
And he might have been in a couple of the Lego games too.
The Lego Batman game.
Was it John DiMaggio from Bender and
Jake
Jay?
the Dog,
everything that you
Marcus
love.
Phoenix
Yeah.
from fucking Gears
Pretty
of
much
War.
everything you
Yeah.
love. He did a version in, like I said, Under the Red Hood, which is an okay. It's almost like Boston, like he does for everything. It's like a New York accent. Go ahead, Javi.
The
Let's sum up.
design of the Joker, that
It's
one was
like,
good, though.
what, the Boston accent?
Dude, your accent comes out the weirdest moments.
I
Like,
know, it's weird.
You'll be like doing like normal Universal voice, and then all of a sudden you'll start talking like you're from the city.
I'm telling you, when I'm fucking angry, that's when my shit will actually come out. Like when I used to take tickets and we had to do lines, I was getting so pissed.
You don't know.
There are your tickets. You're over there in line A, over there on the left. It's like, oh yeah, you're gonna be in line C. It's over there on the right. Get the hell out of here.
And then the last one I wanted to mention was Michael Merson. He was Linus from Lost, if you guys ever watched that.
Yeah.
He was in The Dark Knight Returns. Very calm at first, and I think it fits it. Doesn't come out as dynamic, and then by the end of it, he's crazy. And I think it does fit that movie pretty well.
It's a slow dive into madness.
But RoboCop is Batman's killer in that fucking movie.
Yeah, Peter Weller, huh?
Yeah. But, I mean, what do you guys think? What do you think is the best version? Like you said, Jack Nicholson. Right?
I am a huge Jack Nicholson fan. I am torn between he and Heath Ledger's performance, but as we've talked about, they're two completely different entities, so I can respect them both at the same time.
Yeah.
However, I will say that I am very excited about this new Joaquin Phoenix direction that they're taking. Low budget.
I just kind of want to see where Joaquin Phoenix is going to go with this.
Oh, yeah, dude. Look at how he is in the fucking... the Master.
Master, right?
Yeah, dude. Him and the Master, that is fucking Joker without makeup in a lot of scenes.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, he's fucking nuts in it.
Who else would have? I was thinking that Game Day Lewis would have made a
P.T.
Yeah, the
Anderson
Science
directed it.
pretty fucking badass Joker.
What else has he been in that I've never watched Her, but I've heard he's amazing.
Her is fucking
great.
awesome. I loved him in Her.
I never jumped on the Joaquin Phoenix thing, because after Signs, I was just like,
Yeah,
movies.
okay.
He was good in Gladiator, too.
He was Caesar in Gladiator, man. And you fucking hated him
You
whenever
know
you
what?
watched
You're
him in
100%
Gladiator.
right. He does kind of disappear into that role.
Yeah,
He-
like you hate him.
you
You're like,
despise him.
this motherfucker.
Yeah.
But then it's like, damn, that's a good actor if he makes you hate him while you're just...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's what a villain needs. It's just like
Yeah.
in Game of Thrones, whenever you despise Draco Malfoy kid, or whatever his
Fucking
name is.
Michael Keaton in The Founder.
Oh,
Fuck,
you
man.
hate him?
I hated that movie just for the simple fact that I ended up hating, like, actually Michael Keaton.
Yeah,
It
that's-
spilled over from the
What is-
character to the
Where does
actor.
this
Yeah.
love of Michael Keaton come from? Because he disappeared for a good 10 years.
Let's see
For
here.
more than 10 years,
For
Mr. Mom.
for me, it was Night Shift, Mr. Mom, Beetlejuice.
Johnny Dangerously, Beetlejuice.
Yeah, Johnny
fucking-
Dangerously.
He is
Like,
so
this
fucking
just-
underrated.
I grew up in that time. Michael Keaton was the shit, man.
He was.
Yeah, but
He's fucking Batman.
but he didn't have a
That's
resurgence.
what fucking
He's my
sold it.
favorite
About
Batman.
5 years ago, was it Birdman came out? And that was kind of the
Birdman, that was his
beginning of
big
his
comeback.
resurgence.
Yeah.
And that was fucking great. And then he came out with the other guys.
Yeah, but don't forget, he was
the other guys.
He was in Jackie Brown also. He was in The Other Guys. Yeah.
Yeah, but Jackie Brown, like, the person takes away Jackie Brown is Jackie Brown. And that
Right.
guy that
It's
she's
the
conspiring
worst
with. I can't
Quentin
remember
movie.
his
We all
name.
know
It is.
this.
But that guy that she's conspiring with during the movie, the guy who used to
David
be a cop,
Forrester.
fucking amazing. He stole that movie from me the first time I saw
Truly,
it.
he did well.
Michael Keaton's version as Batman, like, to me, here we are, like, 30 some odd years
But
later.
he didn't
he's
look
still
like
my
Batman.
He didn't look like Batman.
He didn't look like
have to.
Batman.
He didn't have to.
Didn't act like Batman. Yet everyone's favorite Batman.
Yeah.
Because every other Batman after that has been
I
crap.
agree with you guys.
Like,
I-
my
I'm
top
just-
two Batman, my top three is going to be Keaton, West, and fucking Affleck.
I like Bell.
Really?
I really like Bell.
Really?
Christian Bell is a shit. And
Christian Bale
I like
is
Ben Affleck's Batman and Batman vs. Superman. Ben Affleck's Batman and Justice League is
not good.
goddamn dog shit.
Christian
They
Bale
made him a
is-
giant pussy.
For me, Christian Bale is Batman. That version of Batman is 100% Batman.
Oh yeah, dude. Well, the
Michael
guy was
Keaton's
so
cool,
committed.
that's
Even
my
whenever
version.
he's doing his publicity tours, he's still speaking with his Bruce Wayne accent. Like he fucking is that character.
100%. Did you see whenever he was playing in The Fighter, the one he won the Oscar for, and he was doing interviews, and he's still doing the... He's like, yeah, we're going to go over here. So we were doing Batman, and over
Yeah.
here, and Batman, and shit
Oh, it's
like
so
that.
great. So
Oh,
one of my favorite stories that I've heard on late night is whenever Tom Hardy was announced to be Bane. He shows up on set and he gets the fucking lifts in his boots and he's got his fucking gear on. He's feeling pretty good. Like, yeah, all right, fuck yeah. And they get out there and it's the scene in front of the fucking city hall where they're fighting in the snow. And Christian Bale gets out there in full fucking Batman gear and looks at fucking Tom Hardy. And Tom Hardy looks at him and Christian Bale just kind of smiles and nods and he's like, yeah, I'm Batman. It was so good the way he told it.
Well, y'all,
That's fucking cool.
I think we have to end on that. This has been Joker Cast, evidently.
Yes.
Who is your favorite version of the Joker? You can follow us on YouTube right now. If you go to Quack Attack 5000, please share this podcast with your friends. Go ahead, Jake.
Who do you think should be the Joker as well?
Yes. And do you think that my theory that this 1980s version of Joker will play in. All right, I just stole the theory from the film theorists.
Oh, it's
Doesn't
so
matter.
good.
But I hope that's what fucking
Like,
happens.
even a lot of that theory goes a lot of water. Even from like a studio and financial perspective, that does make a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense. You buy back Batman for me personally, as a person who didn't care that much for the new DC universe.
That's a Batman I'll invest in.
Dude, I will totally because
Yeah.
because you give him a reason for being as shitty as he is in BVS. You give him a reason for being beyond that razor's edge and being a killer and being just sick of the shit. He's seen so much terrible stuff. You've taken Batman out. You have broken Batman. And you not only that, but you have taken him and you have made his villain his own child, basically. That's intense. That's awesome.
All the ingredients are there.
The one thing I was going to mention, and I do want to end on this, when the Joker falls into the vat of acid, I can't help but feel like that's a parallel to Lucifer falling from heaven.
Oh, yeah.
And that's all I can
Falling
think all
from
day.
grace.
Falling from
Yeah.
grace and becoming the ultimate villain, becoming the devil, and becoming and always wanting to get back at God and break God. That's what Lucifer does on this planet, if you believe in the religious aspect of it.
Very deep parallel.
And I never thought about that till today. So we will leave you in that thought. Like I said, please watch some of
Well,
our
I like
videos. Please share this podcast if you like it. Continue to listen. We will get better at this as time goes on. This is Duck. That is
Jake.
And that is...
That is Javi.
Thank you for listening to We Are Air.
And there it is. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast today. If you have enjoyed it, please do not forget, share with your friends. That is how we grow the network. And if this is your first time listening, head over to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, iTunes, and give We Are Podcast a like. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, you're going to love the other podcast here on the We Are Podcast Network. We have We Are Bagu, a video game podcast featuring me and Dr. Ethan Eastwood. That's where we talk Atari to Steam and everything in between. Don't forget, Heroes Gyros, a Dungeons and Distractions side quest. Me and the boys were sitting down, we're playing some D&D, we're having so much fun. You can go and start that from the beginning of the journey, Season 1, Episode 1. You're going to love it all the way through. And finally, I hate being sober. Personal stories from epic people. I'm going to sit down with some of the most epic people I've ever met in this world, and we're going to talk about their life, we're going to talk about their trials and tribulations, and we're just going to talk about their journey this far. Head on over to our social media. All links can be found in the description. You can find us at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at /WeArePodcast. Also, head over to the Facebook group, We Are Air. We would love to see you in that group. And don't forget, if you've enjoyed the podcast today, share it with your friends. That's the only way we can grow this network. With that said, do not forget, support local comedy in any way that you can. We really do appreciate it. We'll see you next time.